Mm-hmm.
Help me understand. In the past, you've talked about helping people find this path to citizenship. Now you've talked more about no amnesty. Help me understand where you stand on this issue.
Well, I don't think that's incompatible. Amnesty is rewarding people for breaking the law. I don't think that is a good policy. It wasn't a good policy in 1986 when Reagan did it. It turned out to have disastrous consequences. I think it's still disastrous now. It does not mean that you try to round up 11 or 15 or 20 million, however many people are here, who knows, and say we're going to start deporting people en masse. But there's got to be a process. But it first has to start with securing the border and having control of the border. I think that's where most Americans are so fed up and disgusted. They feel like nobody is minding the store. And I always like to say this, it's like if in your kitchen a pipe burst and water's flowing all over the kitchen. Your first inclination is not to say, honey, let's go get in the car. We'll go down to Home Depot. We'll get us a new faucet. First inclination, stop the leak. Because if you don't stop the leak, the new faucet isn't going to help you. And I think that's what a lot of people understand. Again, it's common sense. Stop the leak before you start figuring out what are we going to do with all the water on the floor. Well, we're going to stop the leak. Then we'll talk about what we're going to do. And I really think that that's the order in which immigration policy has to be formed.
So if you stop the leak, then what? What do you do with, how do you sort through the 11 million?
You do two things. Number one, you create a much more efficient, streamlined way for people to come here legally. When I talk to people who have immigrated, and it took them sometimes as much as 18 years and thousands of dollars of legal fees to become legal here, not just for citizenship, but even just for green card, permanent residency. That is incredibly inefficient. And that may work if you're going to be a high-tech scientist and be paid $300,000 a year. But if you're going to pick tomatoes in South Arkansas and you're going to make $7.50, $8 an hour, you don't have several $1,000s to spend on lawyers and getting it done. So it has to be realistic and reasonable, and it's not. We had a girl that worked for us in the campaign before from Austin, Texas. She's an attorney. Her parents were very well educated, came here from China, and it took them 18 years to go through the process. She was a great example of somebody, when people would talk about, well, let's just have amnesty, a kind of a wide open forgiveness program, she bristled up and said, are you kidding? After what my family went through, you're going to just say, oh, you guys were chumps. You spent 18 years and thousands of dollars. These folks can just come on in and no questions asked. I mean, there's more than just people, Americans, who feel like they've lost their jobs or maybe they're competing. And part of the problem, and one thing, let me go back to the fair tax that it addresses. If I hire you and you're an American worker at $12 an hour, I'm going to take taxes and Medicare and Social Security, all the payroll taxes are going to come out of your check. If I hire you and pay you $8 an hour, I'm exploiting your labor by $4 an hour. So I'm cheating you, but you're not going to go tell anybody because you can't. Who are you going to tell? Nobody. So I've cheated you $4 an hour that I've put in my pocket as the employer, but I've done something else. I'm keeping the 7.5% employer portion of the payroll tax, so I'm getting a double benefit for hiring illegals. I think we forget that there is a real reason that illegal immigration is not something that is being addressed by Democrats or Republicans, because let's face it, a lot of people are making a lot of money off of illegal labor. Now, the truth is, at $8 an hour, he has more take-home money than you do at 12, because nothing's coming out of his check. I mean, we've created a system that lends itself toward illegal immigration, both for the worker as well as the employer. Who gets socked in the gut? The American worker, who has to pay the taxes and have the payroll deductions taken out, who doesn't get his whole paycheck. Under the fair tax, everybody gets the full paycheck. You pay taxes at consumption, which means if you're illegal, you go buy something at Walmart or JCPenney, you pay the tax like everybody else. There is no escape from it.
So say you're able to secure the borders, you get the system so that people can come over here legally quicker. There's still the question of the people that are here undocumented and what to do about them.
Yeah. And I honestly think that, again, that's got to be the deal hammered with a bipartisan approach. And rather than tell you what that's going to look like, because I don't know how passionate people on both sides are, but it's probably going to come somewhere in the middle, and you better have somebody as president who knows how to bring people together from greatly disparate views, who can get them at the table, talk through it. But I think a prerequisite to that is still going to be having a border that's secure. And somebody thinks that there is an honest assessment of addressing both the open door policy that we have now and the fact that there are people being exploited for their labor, and that there are a lot of American employers who are benefiting from illegal immigration. We're going to have to address that.